The next app is Plan Research by Warren, and this app is very useful when you're planning something to do research about things like when you want to plan like some outings or something, you can do research on it. So let's listen to the demo. And Warren, thanks for the demo of that app.
Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast. This is demonstrating an app called Plants Research Pro. This is an app that tells you about plants and some of their medicinal functions, as well as some of those that contain some recipes. The app may be a little bit complicated, but that's why I'm here, making the complicated uncomplicated. I am already sitting here in a folder that contains Plants Research Pro, and now I'll move my finger to the right and tap on the icon.
Plants Research Pro. User Agreement. By installing and using this application, you agree to the following terms. 1. Information Disclaimer. This application provides information for informational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. You are advised to consult with qualified healthcare professionals for personalized diagnosis, treatment, and guidance regarding any medical condition or concern. 2. Educational content. The content within this application, including recipes, is provided for educational and experimental purposes. You understand that any information or recommendations provided are intended for informational purposes only and should be used with caution and discretion. 3. Accuracy Disclaimer. While we strive to ensure the accuracy and reliability of the information presented, we cannot guarantee its completeness, currency, or suitability for any specific purpose. You acknowledge that the information provided may contain errors, omissions, or inaccuracies. 4. Limitation of liability.
You got the drift. So at the bottom right corner, we've got the Agree button.
Agree button. Privacy Policy. This privacy policy governs the manner in which this application collects, uses, maintains, and discloses information collected from users of the application. 1. Information collection and usage. This application does not collect any information from its users for the purposes of storage outside of the user's device, except for the required diagnostics data collected through Google. All information supplied by the user stays within the app's database on the device, unless the user decides to share that information on purpose, or the user's device is lost, stolen, or hacked. 2. User-created content. The app allows the user to create recipes with potentially novel formulations. All recipes created by the user are the user's own intellectual property and do not belong to the app or the app developers unless the specified formulation is not original and has already been registered elsewhere.
Once again, you got the drift, and at the bottom right corner, we got an OK button.
OK. Guide. This application's primary purpose is to facilitate efficient organization of research data for easy and quick access. All application contents, such as plant descriptions and article reviews, are stored within the app, making it highly suitable for off-grid use in areas with poor internet access. Essentially, the app aims to become a continually expanding textbook of plant research. In terms of research material, we meticulously curate articles from hundreds of journals, selecting those with practical applicability for the general public with some exceptions. Simultaneously, we strive to include articles often overlooked by mainstream media. The application also boasts a flexible recipe builder, allowing users to create recipes for various purposes. Each recipe ingredient can be linked to one or more scientific articles supporting its role. In a future update, users will be able to add new articles and reviews. Completed recipes can be exported as text or images, facilitating sharing with third parties. The application serves a diverse audience, including naturalists, hobbyists, survivalists, outdoors enthusiasts, cooks, chefs, agriculturalists, horticulturalists, health enthusiasts, bodybuilders, personal trainers, athletes, and plant researchers.
There we go. And at the bottom again is another OK button.
OK. But Plants Research Pro. Button. Unlabeled. Detected. Icon. Menu. Plants and biomaterials.
We hear plants and biomaterial, and then to the right of it, we've got a couple buttons.
Refresh.
We have the refresh. In other words, we are now in the main UI of the app, and the first thing we heard was unlabeled button detected, and that's the navigational drawer there on the top left corner. And there are no tabs at the bottom, and so at the top we have that navigational drawer, and then to the right of it, as I go right,
Plants and biomaterials.
we hear plants and biomaterial, and then to the right of it, we've got a couple buttons.
Refresh.
To the right of it,
Search.
we have the search button. That's the last one there on the top right. Now, below all of this is a list of plants and all of that, and I'll show you one of these before we proceed.
List item image. Agave. 303. Agave americana. Agave tequilana. Agave attenuata. Agave peri. Agave victorii regina. Agave vilmoriniana. Agave desmediana. Agave bracteosa. Agave folifera. Agave sicilana. List item arrow image. Nutritional value. Gut health. Anti-obesity. Cooking. Weight loss. Glycemic index. In list.
And there's the first plant there, and with all the botanical or scientific names and all of that, and a little summary of what it can do and all of that. Now, though, let's go back to the top left corner and tap on that navigational drawer and go through some of the items that are found in that navigational drawer.
Button. Unlabeled. Out of list. Detected. Icon. Menu.
There we go. Let's go ahead and tap.
Navigation header. Plants Research Pro. Yukod Software.
And we heard the name of the developer, which is the Yukod, Y-U-K-O-D. Now, moving down, here's what we got.
Plants and biomaterials.
We have plants and biomaterial. If you tap on this, then you will be taken back to the main UI where the plants are located. But for now, though, let's go through the items that we find here in the menu.
Articles.
Articles, tapping on this will take you to the list of articles, and you can see how many articles there are per each plant and all of that. Next.
Recipes.
Recipes. That's if you want to cook something special or have that someone special, you want to prepare a nice dish for them, you can go in here and figure out how to make that dish. Let's go to the next.
Notes.
That will be the notes that you take, associating it to whatever recipes or articles of interest to you. Next.
Favorites.
Of course, we know what favorites are, and we'll be visiting this later on as to how to add things to the favorites. Next.
Lists.
Lists, if you tap here, it's going to show you a list of the stuff again, and let's keep moving.
Preferences.
Let's take a look at the preferences. There may not be much in here, but let's go ahead and take a look.
Button. Unlabeled. Detected.
That's that top left corner again, which is the navigational drawer. And in preferences, we don't have much besides this.
Display. Choose your preferred app theme. In list.
In other words, if you tap in here, you could go choose whether you want a dark color or, light mode. You can tap here to do so. Next.
Language. Not yet available. Disabled.
We heard language not yet available, disabled, because this is an English only and other languages are yet to come. So if your language is not English, then at this point, this app is not going to be of any use to you until they've added other languages. Let's go back.
List item image. Agave. 3, 0.
It took me back to the main UI of the app, and now I'll need to tap on that navigational drawer on the top left corner again.
Button. Detected. Icon. Navigation header.
We were in preferences when we got kicked off to the main UI, and now below preferences we got
Suggest articles. Recommend app. Rate app. Agreement. Privacy. Guide. Contact. Credits. About.
And that's the last item. And now let's go back and tap on plants and biomaterials.
Plants and biomaterials. Button. Unlabeled.
And that brings us to the main UI. And Now, let's take a look at one of these. For example,
List item image, agave, 303, agave americana, agave tequilana, agave
let's
attenuata,
tap on it.
button, unlabeled, out of
Upon tapping on a plant, it shows a picture of the plant on the top half of the phone, and if you move your finger down, you'll encounter some text, the description, and all of that. So let me put my finger down and see what we have.
common name, agave.
Next,
Other names, century plant, maguey, agave cactus, blue agave.
next,
Scientific names, agave americana, agave tequilana, agave attenuata, agave perry, agave victorii regina, agave vilmorinana, agave desmediana, agave bracteosa, agave filifera, agave sicilana.
next,
Brief description, agave spp, as a genus of succulent plants primarily native to arid regions of the Americas, particularly Mexico and the southwestern United States. These plants are characterized by their rosette-shaped leaves and their role in the production of agave nectar and tequila. The leaves of agave plants are thick and fleshy, typically arranged in a basal rosette. The succulent nature of these
talking about tequila, I can see it now saying, hey, I want this plant. Let's move on down and see what else it says.
research articles. Our database has 3 research articles on agave. We are currently examining a number of new articles and will post reviews soon.
Moving down,
Articles.
you could tab there to see those articles.
Statistics. Articles. Newly added. Unread. 303.
Moving on,
Drug interactions. Not known.
next,
Warnings. High fructose content in agave may contribute to insulin resistance, obesity, and metabolic issues. Potential for tooth decay in agave if consumed in excess or if proper dental hygiene is not maintained. Quality of agave nectar can vary, with some products being highly processed and containing additives. Rare allergic reactions to agave may occur, with symptoms such as hives, itching, or swelling. Agave can affect blood sugar levels, particularly in individuals with diabetes, so monitoring is recommended.
there we go. So, caution here.
References: 1 Castillo Escandón, v. Montfort, G. R. C. Rubio, A. R. I. Mershalek, G.
So basically, it tells you about the references where all this is coming from. And that's the last one. Let's go back. Next, let's go though
Button,
and look at
unlabeled.
an article or look at a recipe. So again, we need to tap on that navigational door on the top left.
Navigation header, plants research.
Let's go on down and tap on recipe.
Recipes.
Here's the recipes. We tap.
Button, unlabeled.
I am here now on the recipe page, and of course at the top left corner there we have that unlabeled button. Now moving my finger to the right
Recipes editor.
is the recipe editor. Now moving my finger down,
Strawberry Blueberries Strawberry Daily Health Booster SBR1, the 4th of August 2024, list item image, provides an excellent mix of berries for overall health maintenance. Antioxidant.
we hear the date as the 4th of August. Of course, this is a European style. This should have been something that was entered like on April 8th, 2024, because we're not in August yet. Let's go ahead and tap on this though and check and see what's going on with how to make this recipe. Or how to
Button,
make this.
unlabeled, out of list.
There we go. Near the top left corner again, we have that unlabeled button, which is a navigational drawer. Now to the right of that is a text string that tells us the page we're on. And of course, that's recipes.
Recipe.
And then we've got 3 buttons to the right of that. Going right, we've got,
Share.
we hear share. Now moving right,
Share.
We hear another share, and this is where I'm supposed to take the complicated out of the uncomplicated. This second share basically is the delete button. I'll show you what I mean, but first let's look at the last button, which is
branch off.
branch off. Alright, since I'm sitting here on the one that says branch off, let's start from here and see what branch off does. I'll go ahead and tap.
Branch off recipe. This will create a copy of the current recipe, which you can then modify to create a new variation. Proceed.
Alright, that's what that is. And at the bottom,
No button.
we got no, and to the right of it
Yes button.
is a yes. I'm going to tap on no.
No button. Plants Research Pro. Branch off.
Alright, now let's move leftward and see that share in the middle that I told you actually is the delete. Here's what I'm talking about.
Share. Protected recipe. Sorry, this is one of the protected recipes and cannot be deleted. A future app update will allow recipe filtration, which will allow for the app's protected recipes to be hidden.
And then at the bottom of that dialog on the right edge of the phone,
OK button.
the OK button.
Plants Research Pro. Share.
And now let's move to the first share that we saw, which is to the right of the recipe, and we'll see what it does.
Share.
Go ahead and tap.
Share type. Text. In list.
So when you tap on it, we've got a couple things you can, or methods you can share. The first one is share as text. The other one, which is the second one, is the
Image.
share as an image. So for example, if I tap
Text.
on text,
Plants Research Pro. Share recipe via text. Out of list. Share recipe via text.
and here's what it says.
Simply tick the fields that you wish to share and then touch the floating share button to proceed. Note, however, that sharing recipes via plain text is not recommended. The receiving user will be able to easily modify the text and reshare it without your knowledge. For recipes that are important, consider sharing via the image option only, as images are more difficult to edit accidentally or intentionally. The author's name, if specified, will be imprinted onto the image, which will offer a level of protection for the recipe's ownership. Furthermore, images are better organized, easier to keep track of, and more appealing.
There you go. And at the bottom on the right,
Cancel button.
we have the cancel or
OK button.
OK. I'm going to tap on cancel.
Cancel button.
Now, below that, here's what we got.
Name: Strawberry Blueberries Strawberry Daily Health Booster SBR1.
Moving down,
Author: Plants Research App Team.
moving down,
Category: Medicinal. Description: Provides an excellent mix of berries for overall health maintenance, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, neuroprotective, cardioprotective,
Move on
antiviral.
down.
Ingredients: 50 grams of strawberry from fruit, 50 grams of blueberry from fruit, 50 grams of raspberry from fruit, 10 grams of dandelion honey.
Oh boy, I don't even like those dandelions.
Editor.
And we come across something called an editor. If you tap here, for example,
Button.
of course, there's that unlabeled button, and then moving down.
Ingredients Editor.
So this is where you edit the ingredients. And then at the bottom right, you have
Fab Add Ingredient. Button. Out of list. Detected. Icon. Add.
there we have an ad, and I don't think it's going to let us add it because it's someone's recipe. Let's tap here though and see what it does.
Protected recipe. Sorry, this is one of the protected recipes and cannot be edited.
There you go. You cannot edit it, and so
OK.
tap
Button.
OK.
Plants Research Pro. List item image. Strawberry. Provides antiviral.
All right, now let's go back. Now, below that editor, we have
Preparation. Mix the berries into a glass cup or bowl. Pour the honey on top.
next.
Application. Best to consume 2H after breakfast and avoid any other food for 2H afterwards. The idea is to minimize the chance of interference with other food and maximize the bioavailability of the berry compounds. Consume daily for a minimum of 12 weeks and monitor the improvement in your health parameters during this time, e.g., blood pressure, heart rate, blood chemistry, physical performance, cognitive performance. You can add observational reports within the recipe page after each week to track your progress.
Next.
Warnings. Possible allergen. Contains sugar. Always consult with a medical expert before trying a new bioactive recipe.
Next.
Reports. No reports have been made for this recipe. You can add reports or observations here.
And below that,
Editor.
we have another editor here, and this is something that I believe you can add some stuff to or add reports or results. Let's tap here and see what this does.
Button. Unlabeled. Detect.
Of course, we hear that unlabeled on the top left, and then to the right,
Toggle checkboxes.
here we have toggle checkboxes. At the very bottom right, though, we have
Fab add result. Button.
add
Detected.
results.
Icon. Add.
Let's
Text.
see.
Add new report. This will create a new report for this recipe. Proceed.
There you go. So you can add, if you know what you're doing, you could add another one here. I'm going to go back. Now, below that editor, we've got
References. This recipe has links to 21 articles. References can be modified in the Ingredients References editor.
And then below that, we have the last item, and that will be
Editor.
Editor. Tap.
Button.
Now, at the top, of course, we have that unlabeled, and then to the right of it is text string that tells us about the page that we're on.
Recipe References.
And then to the right of it, we've got some 3 buttons. We've got
Refresh.
and right,
Search.
and the top right corner
Add to Favorites.
is add to favorites, but this is not how you add to favorites. Basically, if you tap on this, it will turn on the checkboxes so that your screen reader can read it for you. At this stage, without tapping on it, the checkboxes are not going to be read. So for example, if I put my finger down,
List item image. Inhibition of Helicobacter pylori in vitro by various berry extracts, with enhanced susceptibility to clarithromycin.
now to the right of that will be a checkbox, but if I move my finger to the right, or if you're a swiper and you swipe to the right, it'll just move you to the next item.
List item image. Dietary red raspberries attenuate dextran sulfate sodium-induced acute colitis. Shima Bibi et al.
You see what I mean? So now I'm going to go tap on that add to favorites on the top right corner.
Add to favorites. Out of list.
Now that I've tapped on it, watch what happens. I'll put my finger down on the first one and move my finger to the right, and you'll hear checkbox not checked.
List item image. Anti-cancer effects of bioactive berry compounds. Florence Fulmer et al.
Move my finger to the right.
Check box. Not checked.
There we go. Move my finger down.
List item image. Inhibition of Helicobacter pylori in vitro by various berry extracts, with enhanced
Move my
susceptibility
finger
to
the right,
clarithromycin.
or if you swipe right.
Check box. Not checked.
There we go. So if I tap,
Checked.
it checks it.
List item image. Cranberry and blueberry. Check box. Checked.
So I've checked a couple of them. By checking a couple of them now, at the bottom, in the middle of the phone, we got
Fab share. Button. Out of list.
we have the share
Detected.
and moving
Icon.
to the right
Share.
of that,
Tech. Fab delete checked links. Button.
delete the
Detected.
check links. Now, if I go back here near the top and tap on,
Add to favorites. Out of list.
those checkboxes disappear, and so are the buttons that we saw, that is the share and the delete. Both of those are gone. Now let's go back. And now, before we bring this to a close, let's go ahead and see how you add an article to your favorites or to some category of your choosing. That, though, entails us tapping on that navigational drawer on the top left corner, and I'll now tap on that navigational drawer.
Button. Navigation header.
And now let's tap on Articles.
Articles. Button. Unlabeled.
We are now on the page of articles, and just like the recipes that we saw, we have some buttons here on the top right corner after the description of the page. To the right,
Refresh.
we got refresh,
Search.
search, and then
Add to favorites.
add favorites. That's basically you turning on the check boxes. Let's go ahead and tap. Now, if I put my finger down,
List item image. Evaluation of the anti-nociceptive profile of essential oil from Melissa officinalis L. Lemon balm in acute and chronic pain models. Ben A.
now if I like that, for example, and would like to add that to either my favorites or to some other category, for example, of course, then to the right of that is a checkbox associated to that particular article.
Check box. Not checked.
Tab.
Checked.
Now, there's a bunch of them here.
List item image. Modulation of mood and cognitive performance following acute administration of Melissa.
And now that we have chosen something by checking it, we can now either add it to the favorites or add it to a list. And so about an inch from the bottom of the phone, we've got a couple buttons. We got
Fab share. Button.
the share there, and to the right of it,
Fab add to list. Button.
we have add to list. I'm going to tap here.
Add article to these lists. Favorites. In list.
And we heard add article to these lists. And the first one we hear is favorites. I'll move on down.
Antibacterials.
But let's say I want to add it to my favorites. I mean, we got list of other stuff here.
Antivirals. Antifungals. Anti-cancer.
All of that, you got lots of them here. Now I'm going to tap on favorites.
Favorites. In list.
There we go.
Checked.
It says favorites checked. And then at the very bottom corner of the phone, we've got a couple buttons.
Cancel. Button.
We've
Out
got
of list.
cancel and
OK. Button.
OK button. That's how you add it. And this concludes a quick tour of the uncomplicated Plants Research Pro.